Hello. What's up, everybody? Hey, Brad, you are always the first person I see on the Smart Marketer Show. What's up, buddy? Hey, y'all. Good to see you. Hey, Lydia. What's up, y'all? Hey, Ariane. Good to see you. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Smart Marketer Show. How is everyone's week going? We ready to roll into Q4 soon? How are you feeling? Let me know in the chat. I have the chat open here on my phone. So if you see me on my phone, I am not texting. I'm chatting with you guys. What's up? Hey, Lydia. Hey, Milrow. I think that's your name. What's up, Ariane? What's up, Brad? Thank you guys for being here. Terrified and excited for Q4. Yeah, I understand. I think I've done this enough now that I'm a little bit numb to it, if that makes sense, but I still have that anticipation. For those of you guys that played sports, you might understand this, but it feels like the few days like leading up to a big game. I love it. We need these tips. Q4 is scary but exciting. Yeah, definitely exciting. Ooh, Brad purchased a 4x5 3-month wall calendar for Q4. Let's go, buddy. Excited to see what you guys do. Okay, y'all, feel free as always to drop any questions or comments or have discussions in the chat. Ariane, our amazing producer, is in there to monitor. I'll also be checking from time to time. We also have a really cool new camera. So, Zach, I'm about to put you on the spot. But Zach is our amazing content coordinator. He also happens to be my cousin. Zach is in the same room as I am. So everybody say, hey, Zach, what's up, Zach? All of the content we put out on our blog, our social media, all that is Mr. Zach Dampier. So I realized we were calling him out so much on the show and there was no camera. He was like this elusive person that was in the room. We also have Zach. Can we show the second seat here? So he's kind of hard to see, but Larry, my old Chihuahua, is here. So he has also decided to show up for this episode. I do not think Larry will be much help, but he is here for moral support. Anybody else have animals around you? They help, right? Q4 is your slowest quarter. That's really interesting. Let's make it your best quarter. Good evening from the Netherlands. Luke, what's up, dude? I can't wait to see you in Denver. I just saw you filled out your survey. Can't wait to give you a hug. Aftermarket ecom business here. Looking forward to some insights. Awesome. One more shout out, guys, before we dive in. So we have about 10 tickets left for our annual conference, Smart Marketer Live in Denver. In 2 weeks, we will be in person at Smart Marketer Live. So 12 days left to buy tickets. Actually, next week will be the last chance unless we sell out before then. So head over to smartmarketer.com/live. Lots of amazing sessions, roundtables, parties, just overall fun, being around other marketing nerds that get it. Would love to see you guys in Denver and would love Smart Marketer show watchers to be some of the first or some of the last to gobble up those tickets. So smartmarketer.com/live. I'm sure we can put that link in the chat and look forward to seeing some of you in Denver. All right, so Q4, baby, it's coming up. If you are watching this and you do not have plans for Q4 yet, it is a little bit last minute, but it is still doable. So I want you to take a deep breath. There is a lot of information that I'm going to share in this presentation. I do not want you to feel like you have to execute on all of this to be successful. I tell our clients, the goal every year for Q4 is to do better than the last year. So I'm showing you the front of the puzzle box, our perfect world when it comes to Q4. And if you can implement any of this, it is going to help boost revenue and profitability for Q4. So let's close out 2025 strong, baby. So what are you going to learn? This is a picture of Ezra and I answering questions at Smart Marketer Live last year. My husband actually just bought me a blanket last night And it was this color. And he said, Molly, I bought this because it reminded me of your dress. I'd forgotten I even had that dress. So, Arian, it's funny that you put this picture in here. But three big things that you're going to learn. So, first off, why Q4 drives around 30 to 50% of revenue for most of our businesses and clients. So when we look at our businesses, we look at clients, our mastermind members, businesses, and you look at annual revenue, Q4, unless you have a crazy seasonal business or a special reason why Q4 is not for you, if you are playing this game right, 30 to 50% of your annual revenue should be made up in Q4. Q4 is my favorite time of year because you guys are the happiest. It's when most of you are making the most money that you will all year. So it just makes this industry so much more fun. We're also going to show you our Q4 phase model that turns Black Friday weekend. So most people think Black Friday is Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We're going to tear it up and go all out that week. And that's kind of it. And that's not true. Most of our clients had actually started a lot of the phases of their sales in September. So we're going to start in November for this presentation so no one feels any stress. But this is truly a 90-day strategy, not just a 7-day strategy. And then thirdly, we are going to tell you about one of my favorite clients. We are not going to say their name on this call because of privacy reasons, but when Ariane and I were planning this show, he asked me, which of your clients does the best during Q4, essentially, in terms of creativity around their marketing, in terms of revenue. And it was this particular client. And Ariane was able to dig in with them and really figure out the logistics behind that. So we're going to be sharing what they do to really spice things up. They get people to come back and buy 5 to 6 times in 48 hours, even sometimes the same exact product. So we'll be ending the presentation with a little case study around that brand. But first, as always, we're going to dive into our numbers don't lie segment. This one was easy this month, really just looking at Black Friday, Cyber Monday, year over year. This has been fun to watch every single year, the last 13 years of my career, kind of how things heat up every year. We have never had a year where Q4 or Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales were less than the year before. So this is still something consumers are absolutely paying attention to, and more brands are hopping on the train every single day. So last year, record high 11.5 billion in sales just on Shopify. I don't know if you guys saw this last year. Shopify took over, I think it's called the Sphere in Las Vegas, Zach. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the big globe in Las Vegas. They had a counter. Did any of you guys see that? It was revenue per second that was being generated on their platform. It was insane to watch that live. Definitely watch out. I'm sure they're going to do something creative this year to present this information. But 11.5 billion in sales. And y'all, that is 24% more than the year before. And I don't know if you guys felt this, but last year was definitely a weaker year for online commerce. It felt more like a struggle. A lot of businesses that we worked with didn't grow in the same speed that they had year over year since COVID. Last year was more of a down year, and it was still up almost 25% from the previous year. This year has been strong across the board. I really foresee a bigger jump than this. I feel like we could do 30, 40, maybe even 50% in 2025, what we did in 2024. So let's do it. This was another cool stat that Ariane actually found that I thought was interesting. Last year, buy now, pay later was a big growth driver. So buy now, pay later accounted for 686 million in US online Black Friday spending. So almost a 10% increase from 2023. Do any of you guys offer buy now, pay later? I'm just curious. We have a handful of clients that do. Most do not. I want to see what your all's experience is with this. It looks like we're about 50-50 right now. Ooh, I feel like this is a race. 50-50, 52-48. Okay, so it looks about half of you are offering buy now, pay later. This is a simple thing that could be added, especially this time of year. You know that people are buying so much stuff because it's the cheapest that it's going to be for the next calendar year. So it makes sense that their wallets are a little bit tighter, especially just with the overall economics stance right now. So that's interesting to see that half of you are already implementing that. Ariane, will you send that to me in Slack? I want to share that with the team. I think that's interesting. Okay, so let's dive in. Larry just perked his head up and did a little growl. So I don't think he's going to buy now, pay later. He's a bit more responsible than that. But he wants us to unleash your Q4 potential. So again, 30 to 50% of your revenue, unless you are selling swimsuits or something that is crazy seasonal, should come during this time period. And let's walk through exactly what that looks like. So the next segment is action of the month, baby. This is where I'm going to share our phase model that helps us turn Black Friday weekend into a 90-day sales machine. This is something that Ezra, my business partner, has been working on for over 15 years. So this phase model is not new. We just add to it and extend it every year, which is really the nature of the game. So we kind of already covered this, but it's important to understand Black Friday is not just 4 days. I love when clients come on and they're already successful. And I look at what they did last year, and it was just a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. There was nothing in September, October, December, January. That excites me because there is so much opportunity on the table. And really, the idea here is that we are breaking our entire big promotion into phases. And there are a few reasons that this work. First off, this gives us more scarcity and more time to sell than we would have if we were just doing that Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. So I want you to think about this as essentially 4 or 5 Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales, but with variation to each of those phases in terms of offer, but also in terms of the messaging to our audience and really where they are psychologically, where they literally are physically that time of year. And the goal here is to create structured offers. So similar but different offers for each of these phases. We do not want to overcomplicate this, okay? The more complicated this gets, the more likely it is that something's going to break or that your audience is going to be confused. If your Q4 plan feels overly complicated to you, imagine what it's going to feel like to your audience. So we want to take advantage of the fact that people are already starting to go into a consumer discount sales mindset right now through January. But we also want to make this easy for you and your team to implement. So I thought this was a really fun question. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your stress level usually like during Black Friday? I like this question because when I think back 10 years, let's say, I remember John and I getting up. John's one of my business partners. He lives in Texas. I live in Kentucky, but getting up from our separate Thanksgiving meals with our family to go check on an email or change a link in an email. It was like ultimate stress mode. Now, there is still a level of stress, but I think there are enough reps that have happened now that I know it's all going to work out. We also have an amazing team that handles a lot of the tactical side. But yeah, interested in the stress around this. So, okay, some of you aren't stressed at all. I love that. So 3 of you said 0. Let's go, baby. 5 of you said 9. Okay, no one said 10, so that's a win. All right, so I would say this is middle of the road here, Ariane. I would say the smart marketer audience is moderately stressed about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And if you have time in the comments, let me know, why are you stressed? I'm just curious. I have my own thoughts. I have the components of this that stress me out. I'm just interested what stresses you out about Black Friday. Zach, you see the keyboard saved us, buddy. So my new mouse does not go backwards for some reason. So Zach put this fancy keyboard here so that I can hit backwards. Okay, so plan beats panic. With win with the Q4 phase models. So let me go through what we are planning phase wise from November 1st. And for some clients, really through the end of January. And we're going to go into more detail on each of these. But November 1st, and really earlier if possible, we are doing early testing. This is really important. You do not want to be in testing mode. And when I mean testing, I mean creative testing, offer testing, split pages or split testing on your pages, split testing on your emails. We want to start to test and seed as early as possible so that we can lower the stress and so that we know we have the most optimized assets out in the market that we can. And as I said, we are even doing this with some clients right now. In our mastermind mentor table earlier, we had an amazing call with our meta rep, Sammy. Shout out to Sammy. We love her. And this was one of her biggest recommendations. It's not rocket science, but the earlier we can come out, the earlier we can launch campaigns, even if they're pretty broad, hey, our sale is happening, right? Even if you don't have the specifics of the offer yet because it's not time, the earlier we can, for example, enter Meta's auction, the cheaper the CPMs are going to be and the more prepared we are going to be overall. So really starting those first 2 weeks and even into October after Prime Day with as much early testing as possible. Then the next phase is phase one. This is early Black Friday. So we're starting to actually go into monetization mode, but it is not the biggest sale of the year yet, which of course comes during Black Friday week. Notice that we do at least 7 days of this sale. For some businesses, we do up to 14 days for this sale. The reason for that, eyeballs, right? Just being able to enter the inbox, enter these ad auctions at a time when every other brand is not screaming at these people. And you know, this is getting earlier and earlier every single year. We might be here in 10 years and hell, we're starting all of this in August. I hope not, but I feel like it's inching out every single year. Phase three, this is a really underutilized phase for most brands. Even if you do not have products that are giftable, the December timeframe, if done well, can really help you end the year strong, especially if you have a shipping deadline. For some of our clients, that shipping deadline, which depending on the client is usually between December 7th to the 24th, that can be for some brands literally your biggest sales day of the year other than Black Friday or Cyber Mondays. So really taking advantage of this kind of in-between spot in December where people are buying holiday gifts, but where people are also preparing for the new year. And then phase four, Meta is calling this Q5 now, which is essentially January. I think that's kind of cute. I don't know if we'll adopt that because it's a month and not a quarter. But phase four is acknowledging that there is an opportunity for a sale right after you end your holiday sale, and for some brands, all the way into January. Let me know, is January the biggest month for any of you out there? We notice for a lot of clients, especially clients that are health focused or personal development focused, or for some reason, January is just powerful. That can be one of your biggest months, and that can be manufactured if you do this right. So we have December 26th to January 2nd. This would be if your product doesn't make sense for January at all. Again, for some brands, this will go all the way into January and really running a badass New Year, New Me, New Year's sale there in January. If you guys are able to focus on this, if you don't have anything planned in October and next year you also add October, this becomes 4 really solid months in almost any business. So let's dive into these phases a little bit more in little more detail and just give you some tips on what we're doing, what we recommend you do during each of these phases. So early testing and seeding. This is the case no matter when you start. This is marketing 101, but you will be surprised. I see 50, 100 million plus a year brands not doing this. It is really very important from the moment you begin Q4, even if that's in Q3, till the moment that you end, that you are using one dedicated holiday URL. That although the phases change and sales open and end and the offers and the details of those sales change and the marketing messaging changes, that all of that's fine, right? There, all of those variables can change. But the thing that should not change is your URL. Do not get too fancy with this. Something like smartmarketer.com/sale works really well, but I don't care what you name it. It is more about the fact that you are using one URL throughout this entire period. This sounds really simple. So many people don't do this, and you are missing out. So there are a lot of benefits to this, like simplicity for you and your team. But the two big ones are, number one, if we never change the sale URL, that allows us to run some pretty generic sales ads on platforms like Meta and Google from the moment you start till the moment you end for months and months and months. And even for some brands, this does so well, we end up using this URL throughout the entire year. So this allows us to not reset the social proof, the learning by having to relaunch campaigns because we're changing the URL. This also allows you to take advantage of traffic that is a little bit delayed. And what I mean by that is, imagine that you are running an early Black Friday sale, and for some reason, Zach does not open your email until 2 or 3 weeks later, but he clicks. Well, would you rather have that as a dead link and Zach goes nowhere and does not buy? Or would you rather that open to whatever your current phase is? Really simple, very important. One URL for this entire period. Okay, now let's talk a little bit more about ads, especially in regards to creative. So if you're willing to launch earlier, like November 1st, or even in October or September, this allows us to do some testing around our ads. And when we analyzed last year's Q4, we went all out on creative last year. High volume of new creative for clients, really just trying to make the most of Q4. And when we look back actually at the last few years, what we found is that for almost every client, the best performing creative during Q4 was a best performer that had been working in an evergreen sense all year long, but with some sort of holiday overlay on top of it. Like simple shit, guys. Like our meta rep was showing us earlier today, like little holiday frames, badging, or even just a text overlay with whatever your offer is at that point in time, or even just generic holiday sale messaging. So the moral of the story here is, yes, if you have time to produce new creatives for Q4, do it. You might find a few winners, but these platforms are so saturated during this time of year. It is better to save the time and use your best performers throughout the year with just a little bit of holiday overlay on top. Does that make sense to you guys? Save your time. And if you are going to be in creative production mode during Q4, think about building creatives that you're going to launch in Q1 that have more of that new year, new me messaging so that your creatives can go further versus wasting your time on creatives that might not ever even see the light of day. As I said earlier, get into the auction early. Please, guys, I see so many people wait until the week before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or even scary enough, the day before. Two things. One, CPMs spike. They're going to spike either way, but if you enter the auction earlier, you're going to see less of that effect. But number two, Meta really locks down on their reviews during this time period and it gets backed up because this is the time of year, of course, where the most ads, the most campaigns are submitted. Even brands that don't run a damn ad the entire year are launching ads. Target spending millions of dollars a day on the platform. I have seen students launch campaigns too late and they never even make it through the review process to run during the time period that they want. So launch early, even if that means launching a campaign and scheduling it to start in the future, right? It can still go through the review period and be ready to rock and roll. And if you have time, I think October, how many days are we till October, Zach? Like a week or something? I don't know. Things are crazy right now. I think we're about a week till October. So don't stress if you don't have time to do this. But if you do, October is the perfect time of year for lead generation. And when I say lead generation, I don't mean just opt in to get on our VIP list to be notified about our sale that we're going to run. That can work, but consumers are getting tired of that. That's not an amazing promise unless someone really loves your brand. Give me your contact information so I can sell you shit at a later date. Again, that can work. But when we're talking lead gen, we mean things like traditional lead magnets and or giveaways. Almost every one of our client is running a very creative giveaway in October to build a list of a qualified audience that we can then sell stuff to. A giveaway could be as simple as a bundle of your products, but the more creative you get, the better. Last year, our client Antler Rings, they sell jewelry to, let's call it the Western market, people that like to hunt, people that like to fish, a lot of people here in Kentucky. And instead of just giving away some of their beautiful jewelry, we really push them to think of a creative prize that would be so enticing to their audience, but would still qualify their audience. And one of the prizes they came up with was a trip to the rodeo in Las Vegas, which is something that this audience would really, really want. It absolutely crushed it. It built a really nice list of people that we were able to then further monetize in Q4. And you all, when you're doing these giveaways or this lead gen, you could go ahead and have an early Black Friday offer there on the thank you page. This doesn't just have to be spending on leads to spend on leads, which is something I still love doing. This could be a campaign that you're still measuring by ROAS if you are able to put a catalog or a category page, some sort of discount, make them an offer on the thank you page, even though they've just entered to win something. So I'm entering to win a trip to the rodeo, and then I see beautiful Western jewelry on the thank you page. You are going to be able to turn that into a direct response campaign, but the real goal is building that lead list. And this is a cool stat from our agency. Buyers who join your list during October are 3 times more likely to convert during Black Friday. 3 times. I had someone yesterday that was like, I don't buy leads. They never buy stuff. If you do lead gen and they never buy your product, then whatever you are doing to get them to opt in is not working, right? There's something about that lead magnet or that giveaway that is not qualifying your audience. So it is less about the strategy or the act of doing lead generation. It is more about the thing you are giving them in exchange for their contact information. So this is phase 0. Again, this can start in October. All right. Then we go into early Black Friday. This is when things really start to heat up. This is when we get more aggressive in selling shit. So for most of our clients, early Black Friday is a toned down version of whatever they are going to do during Black Friday, Cyber Monday proper. Something else that we found that was really interesting analyzing last year is that tiered discounting actually outperformed flat percentages. This was the first year that that had ever been the case for us. So, really, for 10 plus years, flat percentages like 25% off our entire site had always outperformed tiered discounts. Now, really quick, I'm not saying that you should not use flat percentages for any of these sales, right? Especially for your holiday or your New Year's sale, a flat percentage can really work. It's also something that we can use as a doorbuster that we'll talk about later. I'm talking about your early Black Friday and your Black Friday Cyber Monday sale. Brands that use tiered discounting did better in terms of overall revenue, overall profitability, and average order value, which makes sense. So, some examples of structure that worked, if this would make sense for your brand. All right, orders under $100, you get 15% off. So, it's still a flat discount, but we're incentivizing them to spend more because if you spend over $100, it's 25% off. If you're a VIP customer, so you're someone who has bought during Q4 already, or you are on the early lead list, then you are going to get 25% off versus or plus early access to the sale. You do not have to go this big with your percentages if your profit does not allow. This could be 10, 15, 20. I don't care necessarily about that. It is more the idea that the more that they spend in that purchase, they are incentivized with a bigger discount and or free gifts, which we'll talk more about later. But this tiered structure last year, I said, guys, this is not going to work. It is too complicated. Don't do it. And here we are. I am wrong a lot, and I'm happy to say that. I have lots of smart people that work around me. So this worked, and I couldn't recommend it anymore. If you do not want to do this, another alternative, which most of you guys know about, is buy one, get one. This works equally as well, and it protects margins. Something else that we found that was really interesting for a lot of these brands, we tested buy one, get one 50% off versus buy one, get one 30% off. We actually found that buy one, get one 30% off worked just as well. And for some brands, even worked slightly better for some reason. I never would have guessed that. I thought that buy one, get one 50% off would always win. That's not necessarily the case. So if you use buy one, get one as your offer structure for any of these phases, think about that, right? You don't have to do 50%. You could do 30%, and that is going to protect your margin more. I would especially recommend this for brands with lower profit margins. All right. Phase 3, baby. Again, this is one of the most underutilized phases. This is probably my favorite phase, actually, because it can just help you really end the year strong if you are willing to be creative. So the obvious scarcity around shipping, we already talked about that. I don't feel like we have to really talk about that anymore. If that is something applicable for your brand, it applies to your brand. For a smart marketer, that absolutely does not work. We have nothing to ship you. So we're doing discounts on courses and all of the services that we provide. Absolutely does not apply. But obviously for our physical product brands, it does. Something else to think about here. Gift cards rise in popularity as shipping cutoffs approach. Gift cards can work really well, especially if you use them as almost like a free gift. So let's say you are buying a gift for someone, it's the holiday season, and you are buying the gift, and then if you spend a certain amount, you get a gift card that you can either give to the recipient or you could keep for yourself. This also applies just the straight selling of gift cards. I know that John, my business partner, he received a bike, a really cool bike last year or the year before for Christmas. And it's a bike that you can build yourself. And he was given a gift card so he could actually, pick out the bike that he wanted. this works not just in person. Our local restaurant here in Danville, it's called Morley's. My husband runs it. We crush it in gift cards in December. We always do a big promotion in gift cards because who doesn't want to treat someone to dinner or lunch or some drinks? But this can also work online. Also, keep in mind, y'all, this is the case for every single phase. Bundles perform really well. Bundles are not going to have the highest conversion rate on your sales page when you list out all of the products that someone can buy, but they're really going to boost AOV. And bundles do the best when you name them something that is prescriptive and applicable to that particular phase. So, for example, last year, a client that sells supplements, something that you would think, why the hell would anyone ever buy that as a gift, right? Like that's not going to sell in December unless people are stocking up on their own supplements. They were so smart to name different products, different bundles, things like for your friend with stomach issues, for your mom with anxiety. It absolutely crushed it because they painted the picture in the person's head of who they could give that gift to, right? That supplement was none of the supplements are something that someone would be like, oh, I can't wait to buy these for my mom for Christmas. But because they were prescriptive in the naming of those bundles, they absolutely crushed it. So really think about your bundles for each phase. Hell, they could be the same exact bundle for each phase of your sale, but just change the name so that they make sense in whatever time period you are currently in. And I see you guys in the chat. Love y'all. I'll definitely get to those in a little bit. This is where we are pushing actually harder with ads and emails than we even did during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. A reason for this too is just the communication channels are less saturated. SMS, email, ads. I don't know if you guys are like me. I would say the week of Black Friday, Cyber Monday is my least favorite time to check my email. It's already out of control, and you log on in the morning and it's like, holy shit, every brand that I've ever engaged with in my entire life is sending me an email. It's also funny to see, I don't mean this in a judgmental way, but like brands that are bad at marketing that don't market to you all year, and then they just show up in the inbox. Those brands go a bit more quiet during the December period. So if there is any way at all you can sell your product in December, get really creative with the messaging. Like for us at Smart Marketer, are people going to gift marketing courses or services? Probably not. But when we start to position it as gifting for a team member or as spending your budget before the end of the fiscal year, or as, hey, this is a tax write-off for 2025. Those are messages that start to paint the picture of why they should buy now and not later. Okay, phase 4. So this is the last phase, at least for now. This usually starts right after Christmas and or at the beginning of the new year, and it can run throughout January. This is really going to depend on your brand. But keep in mind that the messaging must shift now to buying for someone's self, right? They have maxed out the relational equity and money that they are going to spend on others in October, November, December. Now we are shifting to self. January is one of the best times also to launch a new product. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're selling courses or you're selling bikes. The act and excitement of launching a new product works really, really well in January. Shopping motivation changes from gift to self-improvement. We kind of already talked about this, but offer structure wise, clearance items, like this is the best time of year for us to do warehouse sales, for example, or self-care bundles, or even limited run novelty products. So a new scent, a new pattern, Even the launch of a new product or a new product line can work really well in January. If you are a brand that has an information component in any way, and what I mean by that is you do webinars, you put out a lot of content, you put out videos. I don't care if you're ecom, SaaS, info, whatever. If you have an educational component to your brand, January is no doubt when you are going to get the most eyeballs onto those educational pieces. So if you're a brand, like a lot of our supplement brands in January are launching new books that the founder wrote or the face of the company wrote. Obviously, a lot of our information or SaaS companies are doing their big launch, whether it's product launch formula style or a webinar. January is really hot. People are coming out of eating and being indulgent for a few months, most people. And they are in a space, they've taken time off work, and they are in a space of really being open to learning and becoming the next version of themselves. So take advantage of this. This could also be as simple as a variation of the early Black Friday sale that you ran, right? Even if you don't have anything crazy, if you don't have crazy New Year, New You messaging, just duplicate your early Black Friday sale and run it again. Do not leave money on the table this time of year. This is a really cool graph. Ariane, I think you put this together. Where I know you told me and I forgot. Ariane, where did this come from again?
Yeah, that came from the training that you did at Mentor Table.
Okay, amazing. So this is our agency clients in terms of Q4 revenue and how that usually plays out. It is no surprise that a lot of the revenue is generated during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. If this wasn't the case, why would we have Black Friday, Cyber Monday? But I want to call out one thing. Look at that phase three, baby. That is why that is the most underutilized phase. This looks weaker than it really is because a lot of our clients don't run something this time of year. But damn, that is really underutilized. So is early Black Friday. And even the testing period can be a really significant time to generate revenue. So I would rather have all of these add up to be the greater whole that we have over these few months than just rely on this little bit, not this lot of bit of revenue that you see during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So, okay, before we get into the case study, I know we just covered a lot. Checklist: create a dedicated holiday landing page, prepare creative assets with holiday overlays. Don't go crazy here. Build bundles for each phase, map specific offers and messaging for each phase, schedule your email, SMS, and add cadence. And of course, start using templates that we have inside of our software, Zipify. We also have a Black Friday, Cyber Monday toolkit that we could pop in the chat if we haven't already, team, that has some page and email examples for you guys too. You can literally copy those templates. But once you really start doing this in a fleshed out way, like we're describing, every year you're basically just taking the templates that you used the year before and optimizing. That's something else I love about Q4. It is when we build the least amount of stuff. Like, I love building pages, emails, ads. Ask Sam, Smart Marketer Productions on here. He manages my craziness and I love building new stuff. I love being a part of the building of the new. And I love Q4 because there's not a lot of building of the new and we're kind of reaping what we sow for the rest of that year. So, okay, case study, and then we will take some questions. All right, this is what I told you about earlier. This is crazy what I'm about to show you guys. Do not feel like you need to do all of this, okay? Do not feel like you need to do all of this. Some of you can and will. Some of you will take little nuggets from this strategy and possibly year over year build up to this. Some of you do not have enough products to do what I am showing you, but you can still take elements of this to really optimize your sales. So, this is how one brand engineered a Black Friday frenzy. Customers bought 4 to 6 times each in 48 hours. I was watching this in real time last year, you all. I was blown away. I did not know that this was possible. And it wasn't just possible in terms of the number of brand new customers they were getting to buy, but like I said, the number of people they were getting to come back and continue to buy. This turned into days and days of buying frenzy. And this wasn't just a one and done discount, this was repeated engagement. And I'm going to use a word here a lot. It might not be the best word, but it's what we're using right now. The word is doorbuster deals. And I'm going to summarize the concept I'm about to tell you before I show you all the details. So, the thought process here is that during these phases, this one was during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So, at least during Black Friday, Cyber Monday that week. But this concept could be applied to all of the phases if you want it. You plan out your sales, you plan out your phases, you plan out your tiered discounts, your buy one, get one, you plan everything like we talked about. Then you have some special doorbuster deals in your back pocket that you can add on certain days like Black Friday or Cyber Monday when things are already hot and you want them to heat up even more. And you can also add some of these to lull days. So, any of you that have run a promotion know that not every day of a promotion is created equal. Usually, your open and your close are your biggest days. So, these doorbusters can also be used to spice it up on days that otherwise are a bit more quiet. And these deals allow you to add something special on top of the sale that you are already running. So it gives people another reason to come back and buy. It also gives us, as marketers and business people, another reason to send an email, to send an SMS, something to talk about on organic social and all communication channels that isn't just the same thing we've been talking about. So there are lots and lots of benefits to this. This is next level though. Okay, so they did 27 of these doorbusters in 48 hours. 27 of them, right? No one has to do that. You could do one. You could have 5 of these in your back pocket for 4 months. They are just really, really advanced in this. So here was the cadence for them. 27 of these flash sales or doorbusters over 2 days. Each drop, each doorbuster had a theme or a name, which was really cute, that kind of had to do with their audience. And they only lasted for 1 to 2 hours with a countdown. You can go this route, or if you're going to simplify this and maybe only do 2 or 3 of these, it could last the entirety of that day. So, okay, it's Black Friday, so you're going to get this extra thing all day if you buy. Or you could do 1 to 2 hours like them if you have more. Out of these 27 drops, here were the top performing offers. Again, this is on top of the sale that's already going on. An extra 50% off best sellers for 2 hours. Biggest traffic spike that they saw all year. Wow. Not everyone has the margin to do this. Holy crap. They gave 50% off best sellers, but people were also adding other stuff to cart. So this ended up working out for them. But what it really did is got a metric shit ton of traffic to the website. 40% off site wide for 1 hour. Number 1 overall performer in terms of revenue. And then some targeted variations, right offer, right buyer. So these were doorbusters to more of a segment of the audience. So people that they knew were going to propose or interested, they got engagement ring offers. Outdoors woman got a huntress bundle. I love that one. So it doesn't just have to be a big thing, to your entire audience or list. These can also be segmented doorbusters to certain segments that are likely to convert. So the infrastructure, when we asked the person that was running this, what made this work? One dedicated sales URL, like we talked about, on that sales page. As you will see in our toolkit, all of our sales page during Q4 are basically glorified collection pages, but they do not click over to the PDP. There is an add to cart function, even for smart marketer with thousands of dollar courses, add to cart. It is truly a shopping experience, like someone walking down the aisle of the grocery store and just adding things to cart. You want them to be able to add to cart on the page. This is one of the most organized brands that I've ever worked with. The spreadsheet is insane. The coordination is really next level. So that's why I don't want all of you to go out and do 27. I don't think we would pull that off at Smart Marketer. I don't know what you think, Sam, but lots of coordination here for the timings, all the assets, the switching on, the switching off, and then, of course, timers and banners across the site. This is marketing 101, but a lot of people just forget those urgency cues. If you can get timers into your emails, there are different tools and apps that allow you to do that. And definitely having those visual timers on the actual sales pages. Even if you're doing 1 hour, 50% off, I want you to have a timer on the page. It's just silly not to. And then for them, segmentation that moved the needle, their VIP, their past Black Friday buyers from previous year, from 2023, they got early access, first notice of upcoming sale, even those doorbusters. So, of course, this is always going to be your best audience, guys. And then even product viewer segments. So, alerts when specifically viewed items go on a flash sale. So, you know that someone has checked out this particular product, right? Through, a tool like OpenSend, or there are a few other tools that we can pull that do this, that would allow us to say, okay, these people have looked at golf balls. We are about to do a flash sale on golf balls. We want to make sure that they are specifically notified and or notified first, because they are most likely to buy that product. So really thinking about the segmentation of your audiences, of your lists. And we talk about this every single year, but do not ignore people that have already bought during the sale. We call this the 2x buyer flow. Anyone that buys once, and definitely people that buy twice, are then incentivized with an extra coupon code or an extra free gift, or some sort of offer style that is going to get them to come back and buy again. Last year, Native, I'm sure a lot of you guys follow Native deodorant, body wash, lots of cool products. They got me last year. They did all of this very well. I literally have body wash and deodorant for 12 months. I am still right now using a Christmas scented body wash, and it's September. So do not discount the fact that people can and will come back and buy. That's even the case for us at Smart Marketer with our courses. And then, of course, you want to be really, really mindful of your recent buyers. Yes, you want them to come back and buy, but you also don't want to make them feel like they didn't get a good deal when they bought last. So really think about the psychology around that. And something else that's really cool that you can do. So pulling, for example, lists of people that have spent the most money with you this year or in the last 2 years, or have bought the most amount of times. You can treat them as their own segment and reward them. You don't even have to give them an extra discount if you don't want, but just acknowledging, hey, you are in the top 5% of people that spend the most money with us. I have an app called Hotel Tonight that I've been using for, I think, 10 years to book travel. And they do this so well, and it makes me want to come back. They're like, Molly, you're in the 0.1% of people that use this app. And then they'll give me a $20 gift card, which to them is nothing. That acknowledgement of status, though, makes me feel special and makes me think of them and really want to come back and buy. So, definitely something to think about. Again, watch your inventory, right? As you start to get low on certain items, move those down the sales page so that they're not getting your hero spots. And, of course, we want to be very mindful as soon as something is about to go out of stock, that is no longer available so we don't have frustrated customers. Also, be aware of your timing changes. So make updates between big email drops. Don't try to update your page right after you sent the email. And then again, consistent URL, simple, but I cannot emphasize that enough. And then beyond the weekend, carry the momentum as we've been talking about. Even with Black Friday, extend your sale to at least the following Thursday, or maybe even that following Monday or Tuesday, so that you're not closing, so that your closing messaging is not going out when these communication channels are so saturated. Remember December and your last ship date, if that is applicable, or whatever other scarcity you are going to use in December. Have it. If you don't, you're just leaving money on the table. And then, of course, remember that January is now Q5, and there is so much selling to be done, especially if you're releasing new products, you're doing a clearance sale, or if there's any messaging in your brand that's going to help them be who they want to be in January. So this is how you turn, most people do 4 days into 60 days of revenue without feeling overwhelming to your customer base, because there's something new for them in each of these phases that really keeps it exciting. Also, keep in mind that consumers are used to receiving a high volume of communication during this time period. So, this is where, as marketers, we get a pass. We don't see unsubscribes go up a lot during this time period. This is a time where consumers really let us go hard in terms of volume, and make sure you are doing so, because it definitely matters. So, what to build, page structure, single URL destination, collection layout, add to cart on page, slide out cart if you can with order bumps, countdown timer, build your VIP list, high spend or high frequency customers, recent customers, and then your promo plan. So, what do these phases look like for you? Are you going to have doorbusters to really spice things up? During any of these phases, make sure you do have a coordination spreadsheet, even if it's just you and you're a team of one. This especially will help next year. So, usually about May, we start thinking about Q4. And guess what? We go back to in May. Everybody's forgotten. We've moved on. We go back to these spreadsheets. We go back to these schedules to remind ourselves of what we did last year and what worked and what didn't. And every year we are optimizing moving forward. So, definitely going to take questions. If you guys enjoyed this, if you like the Smart Marketer Show, share with your family, with your friends, if they're marketers, if they're entrepreneurs. As always, we put clips of this show onto our YouTube channel, Smart Marketer by Ezra Firestone. This show happens every single month. The topic just changes. So if you liked this one, you will most likely like the other shows. It's just something free, fun that we love to do to build trust and put good information out into the world. And just a reminder, if you liked this, you will love Smart Marketer Live in Denver. Definitely check out smartmarketer.com/live to grab your ticket. We are almost out of tickets, and I would love to meet you live. So, all right, rock and roll. Okay, Ariane, I see a lot. I will use one holiday URL. I will use one holiday URL. How do you want me to go about questions here, buddy? Do you want me to start from the top? Do you
Yeah,
want to ask me the questions?
I
Okay,
can
there's a
ask you the
lot going on
questions.
in here. So,
Yeah, let
um,
me ask you the questions so it's easier
okay.
for you. Awesome. So Sean asked a great question and a few others chimed in. Our products are digital, no shipping involved. Is there a way to take advantage of that shipping deadline offer?
So, two things. Number one, if you want, you could ship them something. I don't know exactly what it would be. Like sometimes we've shipped like smart marketer swag, like sweatshirts, notebooks. Um, we add those as a free gift some years. So you could have like, hey, last chance to buy if you want this shipped to you. But I would really think about another hook around the deadline. So usually for us, it's, last chance, like I shared earlier, last chance to buy. If you want this purchase to be on this fiscal year for you to write it off on your taxes, use your budget, things like that. And then we set that hard date with a countdown timer, just like you would if it was a shipping deadline. So it really depends on the brand, but there's always a way to get creative, even if there's not something physical that you're shipping. You could also deliver free gifts or something special to them digitally. That always works really well too. And you could have a deadline around that also.
That's awesome. Lydia asked here, we were planning on selling high ticket products in the early phases of November at a higher discount than usual. The reasoning being that we'd rather get the bigger ask out first. Does that sound reasonable, or are we missing some potential revenue?
If you already have this planned, go about it as planned. It depends a little bit on the market, but I would actually flip that and start with the cheaper products and start to warm people up, then go for the big ask. It really depends on who's buying, though, Lydia. If you don't want to share, that's totally fine. But I think I know you. Could you just remind me on what you're selling and who you're selling it to? That
It's
matters, but usually we would start the other way around.
yeah, she's selling bass guitar coaching and memberships. It's like educational.
Okay, I think you could go either way with that, but I would start with the cheaper and go to the more expensive. We also find that later in Q4, people are like warmed up to spending money. So they're more likely to say yes to the expensive items. It's why we go so hard on the bundles in December. So unless your avatar, so maybe it's parents, I still think parents would be more likely to buy closer to Christmas the higher ticket. So I would flip it if you can, but if not, I don't think it's gonna be the biggest difference in the world.
Awesome. Luke asked a technical question about the one URL. He said, why can we not change the URL? Because if we use the post ID, we can keep the social proof, right? Question mark.
Exactly. And if someone opened an email that you sent in October and now it's November and that phase is done, you don't want that URL to not be valid, right? Of course, you could redirect it, but then that's back to the post ID stuff. So it is just for simplicity's sake, for your customers, for your audience. It is so much better to maintain that same URL throughout.
Awesome. Okay, Paul says we have a one-time purchase price of $49.99 and a subscription price of $34.99 on our flagship line. How do we navigate discounts and offers?
Good question. So I would be very careful to not use super heavy discounting to incentivize the subscription because as you know, that is more likely to get people that are going to buy once to get the heavy discount and then they cancel the subscription. It can actually have the opposite effect to what you're looking for. So, a few things. One, is free gifts. Anything free you can give them if they join the subscription is a great way to incentivize without using heavy discounting. Something else that you can do, if it makes sense for your product, is really lean into things like 3 month or 6 month subscriptions where they are paying more upfront. Instead of paying every month, they're paying per quarter or half of a year. We even see this work with supplements. then you are able to do a little bit heavier discounting because you know that you at least got that initial purchase, even if they cancel. So I would be very careful heavy discounting just 1 month of subscription. You really have to think about the different segments of your audience when you're playing with subscriptions. So, for example, maybe the one time is more a discount on that or an offer on the one time payment. That is something that you're more so putting out into the world, top of funnel traffic. And then a lot of the discounting or free gifting or however you're playing with the subscriptions on the back end, that can be more for the high value segments that we talked about. So think of them as separate, but um, also one, if that makes sense. Like whether it's a one time purchase or a subscription, the marketing messaging, you're still selling them on the same damn thing. And the biggest lesson is just do not overly discount on that first month of subscription because it can really come back to bite you.
Awesome. So next question here is from
Oh,
Sean.
and really, really quick on that too. Sorry, Ariane.
No worries.
Make sure that when you are running, if you do any promotions on your subscriptions, that you are very clearly communicating to people that are already subscribers. So if you're giving free gifts, make sure they get the free gifts, right? Make sure that they are your best people. Nothing is better than a monthly or quarterly or biannual subscriber, even annual subscriber, depending on what you sell. So treat those people like royalty and make sure they are getting all of the free stuff that you're incentivizing on the front end for people to join.
Great stuff. Shauna has a cool business here where they are teaching gamers how to start live streaming.
That's
And all
cool.
of, yeah, very cool. They have a cohort and they have 100% of their traffic from YouTube right now. Never done much Black Friday. She's looking for some Black Friday help, but wondering what percent of budget should be dedicated to Black Friday.
Good question. It really depends on how well the sale is converting. So it's a very much in the moment decision. I would say that for most of our clients, about 40% of the budget is still spent on evergreen campaigns we've been running all year long. And 60% is spent going really hard to our existing audience and also top of funnel for whatever sale we have going on during that phase. So that's also a misconception, Ariane, is that a lot of people think that these sales are just for your retargeting audiences, but for most brands, this can work really well top of funnel too. But a lot of it happens in the moment. Like if something's working really well, we are going to go all out. Like this is the time of year we are going to scale really to the point that we are almost not going to hit our success metrics because we know that this only comes around one time a year.
Yeah, makes sense. Quick follow-up from Shauna. If they're getting 100% of their traffic from YouTube, should she
Awesome.
do Facebook ads or YouTube ads?
Definitely any platform that you can reach these people, definitely meta ads, obviously Google, YouTube ads. You've built this amazing organic audience. Maybe even this year, your plan is to just retarget all of those people. Maybe it's not even a top of funnel play since you've done so well organically all year long.
Awesome. Last question here from Heather. Is there still time to generate leads, warm, cold audience? I have a personal product business.
Definitely. I think there is always time. A lot of our clients even run these giveaways during Black Friday or during December. So October is the prime time just because of the timing, like how long it would take someone to build a relationship with you to buy during Black Friday or one of these phases. But that's really applicable. I mean, hell, it's applicable all year long and especially during this Q4 phase. And Ariane, even, fun things like doorbuster. Anyone that buys today, maybe this is one random day during your Black Friday sale or your December sale, is entered to win this really cool giveaway. So it doesn't even have to be lead gen in that sense. It can also be like a direct to purchase incentive too.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, Joe just came in with the last second question here. We're an offline jewelry brand with over 20K email IDs and SMS IDs. We're planning to start ad spend for Black Friday. What would be good starting budget to ramp up for Q4?
Hmm.
20K email list.
So it's going to depend on how many of those emails actually match to a Facebook ID and how big that custom audience is going to be inside of Meta. If you're just wanting to retarget those people, you could start with $100 a day, $200 a day. If you're wanting to take this out to cold audiences, your budget could really be endless. So it's hard to give you, a specific number. I would start by uploading that data, get ads launched ASAP, start to see what the frequency is and what the audience size is and kind of what feels good in terms of how much can you spend and get in front of as many of these people as possible while also not having a frequency over, 4 or 5. And then also start to look at, okay, now can I also put these in top of funnel campaigns, not just targeting this email list? But definitely target the email list first, build that social proof, get some momentum so Meta can really learn who your audience is, and then start to look at more of those top of funnel opportunities.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions and amazing job, Molly. That was really, really well done.
Well, thanks to you, buddy. And I saw, is lookalike audience still a thing? Yes, it is. Joe, actually, one of our best uses of lookalikes right now, I'm sure you guys have seen the partnership ads with influencers or, other people's pages, essentially. And creating a lookalike audience off of their audience, especially if it's an avatar or an audience that you're not used to targeting. So Meta might not really know that that's who you're looking to reach. So, yeah, I mean, they're not as powerful as they were before iOS 14.5, but definitely still something that we use. Awesome, y'all. Thanks for the sweet comment, Lydia. Thank you to everybody for listening, for watching. Ariana, is there anything else you want me to cover, buddy?
I think you're all good.
All right. Good to see your faces. So, next month, Arian, things will be a little bit different because we do have Smart Marketer Live the first week of October. So, this show will probably be the third or fourth Tuesday in October. So, be on the lookout and let us know if there's any special topics that you want us to cover. We've got a few ideas, but we also love hearing from y'all. So, thank you. As always, good to hang out with you guys. Have a really amazing Q4. Can't wait to see what happens. And thank you for being here. Bye, y'all. See ya.